On that radiant November morning in 1961, the Greek freighter Theo was sailing peacefully through the crystal-clear waters of the Bahamas when something unexpected caught the attention of Second Officer Nikolaos Spatsidakis. Through his binoculars, he spotted a small raft floating in the vast blue ocean. What he and the crew witnessed as they approached left them breathless. On the fragile cork raft lay a blonde girl on the brink of death. Her skin, burned by the relentless sun, was covered in blisters. Her cracked and dry lips revealed extreme thirst, and her body temperature had exceeded a dangerous 104 degrees Fahrenheit. But, against all odds, she was still breathing. The girl was Terry Jo Dupereau, only 11 years old. For nearly 4 days, she drifted alone in the open sea, without food or water, barely surviving after witnessing one of the most brutal crimes of the era. A crew member of the Theo captured the scene in a photograph that would soon appear in newspapers worldwide, a small, solitary figure lost in the vastness of the ocean. The tragedy began as a dream vacation. Dr. Arthur Dupereau, an ophthalmologist from Green Bay, Wisconsin, had spent years planning to show his family the beauty of the Bahamas. Along with his wife Jean, 38, and their 3 children, Brian, 14, Terry Jo, 11, and Renee, 7, he had saved up to rent a luxurious 60-foot yacht named Bluebell. The boat was captained by the experienced Julian Harvey, a 44-year-old war veteran who was traveling with his new wife, Mary Dean, whom he had married just 4 months earlier. The first few days were magical. The family snorkeled near Great Abaco Island, collected colorful seashells, and dreamed of returning for Christmas. But no one suspected that beneath Harvey's respectable facade lurked a murderer. The captain, who had been married 5 times, had a history of mysterious tragedies. His wives died under suspicious circumstances, and his boats, always heavily insured, regularly sank with him as the sole survivor and beneficiary. On the night of November 12th, Terry Jo went to bed early, unaware that this decision would save her life. In the middle of the night, she awoke to her brother's screams. "Help, Daddy, help." Decades later, she would still recall the despair in Brian's voice. It was the kind of scream that tells you instantly something terrible has happened. Harvey had killed Mary to collect insurance money, but his plan unraveled when Dr. Dupereau witnessed the crime. To silence him, the captain also took his life. Jean and the children rushed to see what was happening. Harry ensured there were no witnesses left. Terry Jo, frightened, climbed onto the deck and found a nightmare. Her mother and brother lying in pools of blood. The captain pushed her back into her cabin, and soon after, she felt water rising around her mattress. The Bluebell was sinking. In an attempt to destroy evidence, Harvey had opened the yacht's valves. In the final moments before the ship went under, he threw a rope toward the girl, trying to lure her closer, but she instinctively let go. In total darkness, battling the waves in her own terror, Terry Jo found a small cork raft and clung to it. Dressed only in a thin blouse and pink pants, she was now alone, adrift in the ocean. The first night was terrifying. Violent waves drenched her, and the salt water burned her skin. The biting cold of the night contrasted with the scorching heat of the following day. Thirst soon became unbearable. Her lips were cracked and dry, and her tongue swelled from dehydration. To cool off, she dangled her legs in the water, but the sight of the dark depths below terrified her. At one point, a fin surfaced beside her. Her heart pounded, but it wasn't a shark. It was dolphins. They swam alongside her for hours, as if protecting her. As the days passed, hallucinations set in. Terry Jo heard familiar voices calling her. Name islands appeared on the horizon, only to vanish like mirages. She tried to scream when she spotted a distant ship, but no sound came out. The worst moment came when the sea turned into a mirror. No wind, no waves, just a suffocating liquid desert. Meanwhile, Harvey had been found in a lifeboat, alongside Renee's lifeless body. To the authorities, he spun a dramatic tale of a sudden fire and a furious storm. He was hailed as a hero until news of Terry Jo's survival reached shore. When he learned the girl was alive, he turned pale. The next day, he was found dead in his motel room, having slit his own throat. After her rescue, Terry Jo spent a week in a Miami hospital, battling severe burns and dehydration. Her courage revealed to the world the true story of the massacre aboard the Bluebell. Decades later, she finally found the strength to share her experience in the book Alone, Orphaned on the Ocean, helping others overcome trauma. Today, living under the name Terry Fassbender. Terry Jo works with water ironically, the same element that nearly killed her. "I was never afraid," she says. "I was a child of nature and loved the sea. Faith sustained me." Her story continues to inspire, a testament to the incredible resilience of the human spirit. And somewhere in the deep waters of the Bahamas, the wreck of the Bluebell still rests, a silent reminder of a tragedy and the astonishing survival of a girl who refused to give up.